Hi there. I am here with my friend Judy, a wonderful gal in Tennessee that has an interesting story to share about the light therapy technology. But let's start with a disclaimer. LifeWave is not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It is a light therapy. It does not have any drugs or chemicals involved. All it is a signal to your body to make the body act more efficiently and make its own internal repairs and changes and do marvelous works for us. So we do feel that it's a very safe, non-toxic way to approach general wellness. So thank you, Judy, for your time today. And just real briefly, if you could tell your story about how this technology has benefited you.
I would be more than pleased to do so. Nice to see you, Kimberly, because we don't live in the same town anymore, so we don't get to see each other so often. I met Kimberly. I'm actually an author, and I was at a networking event, and Kimberly had a table, and I walked down the road to say hi to everybody, and I literally said, "Hi, I'm Judy. Nice to meet you. What is LifeWave?" And so she gave me the little talk, told me about the passions. I said, "Ah." She said, "Do you have any health problems?" And I said, "No, not really." And then I said, "Oh, yeah, I have an artificial heart valve, so I guess that's a health thing." And she goes, "Oh, you should try our carnosine patch." And she explained to me how it works. She said, "You only wear it 3 times a week, yada, yada, yada." And so I did. And so for a year, I wore that patch, nothing else, just the carnosine. That's what I started with. That's just my, there's a lot of ways to start with the patches, but that's just the way I started. So in a year, I went to my cardiologist and he said, "Oh my gosh, you everything's stable." And I had had a negative report saying my carotid artery was blocked 70%, that next year I'd have to have a stent put in my neck, and my valve was wearing out. I'd probably have to replace. That's 2 major surgeries. That's not a happy story, actually. So I was thrilled. And so I called Kimberly and said, "Okay, I'm wearing all the patches now. Tell me what they all do, where I put them, send me instructions." And so for the last, is it 3 or 4 years, Kim?
I think it's
Four?
just three. I've
Three?
been telling people 2.5, but we have to nail that down. It's somewhere between 2.5 to 3 years.
It's 2.5 and 3. I've been wearing all 6 patches in Silent Night at night. Like it runs my life. Most recently, I had a rainy day, slippery floor fall and shattered my arm in 4 places. The surgery was long, the pain was incredible, but I put ice wave on my arm. I put my patches on every day faithfully. But here's the interesting thing. Then I found out because I had a cardiologist appointment in the middle of I went with my sling on literally to the doctor, and she said, "Oh," she said, "we need you need that valve replaced." And she said, "I don't know if you'll qualify to have, there's a surgery, Kim, called TAVR, where they can just go through your groin, and it's not like open heart surgery, which is very risky when you do it a second time."
Mhm.
And she said, "Oh, also we got to check that carotid artery that was 70% blocked to make sure that you can do the surgery, or if we have to have another surgery before the surgery." Like it was sort of a medical quagmire, so to speak. I had the tests, and I don't need to tell you the names of the tests, but I had the tests I needed to have, and they called me up and they said, "Your carotid artery," I feel like there should be a drum roll or something. "Your carotid artery is only 40% blocked." They had a number for it. They don't call it blocked. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, it went backwards." And they did the TAVR surgery. I literally went home the next morning and went out to dinner on Wednesday night. Had the surgery on Monday, went home on Tuesday morning, went out to dinner Wednesday night. 7 months, and I've had the best 7 months. I wrote my last book, Spring Cleaning Your Inner Being, just came out a month ago. I did all of that, and I say yay life wave, yay faith, yay everything, because the patches have just changed the way I live my life. I mean, I'm 72 years old and I'm having the time of my life.
72 years young.
72 years young, yep.
Oh, well, and I just want to hit home the point that if you hadn't qualified for the less invasive surgery, it was much more risky the second time around. And your first heart surgery years ago was very problematic. Why don't you tell a little bit about that? Because the
Well,
fear,
yes, I mean,
yeah.
I was born with a defective aortic valve, meaning I came out as a baby with two flaps instead of three on my aortic valve. So when I went to the doctor every year, like we're supposed to, regular checkup, and the doctor said, you're going to need to see a cardiologist. And after all those tests, we scheduled open heart surgery. First, I went to my youngest daughter's wedding because I had a strapless dress, and I said, no surgery on my chest until I wear this dress. You have to wait. So I had the surgery. When I woke up, some of the calcification had broken off the aortic valve because they have to cut it out to put the new pig valve in. And it had floated up to my cerebellum and caused 5 strokes.
Mm.
And those strokes, for quite a long while, I couldn't read or write, use my right hand, lost my complex thinking and my sense of balance. I still need to learn how to rewrite a bike because I don't have the balance to ride a bike anymore. I've got a bike in the garage, I just haven't gotten on it. I need to do that. And my right hand isn't really good at opening jars, but but I got enough back that I went back to my big corporate job and they pushed me out and I had to start a new career at age 64. So it was quite an adventure. So
Well,
when they said, if we can't do TAVR surgery because of your body's not cannot cope with it, your arteries aren't big enough or your carotid artery is blocked, whatever the reason was, they say that a second open heart surgery is twice as risky as a first. And I said, well, the first didn't go so well, so I'm not sure I want to do the second. So it's really just been an incredible providence in my life that I met Kim at
well,
a marketing event.
Judy, and it's so rewarding as somebody that believes in self-help, health and wellness and making lifestyle changes instead of relying strictly on, you know, um, exterior experts to help us. It's been a pleasure to watch your journey and to be alongside you as you've lived through this. And I'm so thankful that the LifeWave patches work and that they help the body repair and heal. And having your carotid artery less blocked, I'm sure much must be a great relief to you. So
It
I'm
is. Oh,
thankful
and
that
you,
I'm thankful that you're in good medical hands, but that you also have the LifeWave lifestyle going for you.
yes, and also you don't know this. After 6 months of surgery, PT, recovery, etc., with my broken shoulder, look, see, it works really good. It's it's still you can still feel it, but it works. The orthopedic surgeon, when I went for my 6 month checkup, and they do an X-ray of your shoulder to make sure the bones have all healed. I have 40 bone grafts, a plate, and 7 screws, so it's
Wow.
put together well. And he said, well, the X-rays show that the bones are all healed. You're ready to go. Just come back in August for a final release, yada yada. And then I said, well, thank you so much. He goes, I'll tell you, when I saw that X-ray, he said, I wasn't sure this would work. Think of that. The orthopedic surgeon that fixed my arm wasn't sure at my age that it would heal. And I just really credit LifeWave, faith, good mental health. Like I think all of them together is what it took to put
Yes.
a 72-year-old back together so she still works.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you had that good result as well. So, as we can tell, the LifeWave system of patches has a multitude of benefits. It just doesn't
Oh,
work
yes.
on one situation. It's overall general wellness, which is what we all strive for at any age. So, thank you, Judy, and thank you, everyone, for giving us your time to listen to Judy's story. Have a great day.
Bye, Kim.